Oh hi, cat lady here. Cat ears, cat top, and my favorite mug that I got for myself because it says everything tastes better with cat hair in it, which is how we live in this house because cats, it doesn't matter how much you clean, you end up eating all the cat hairs. They are just literally everywhere. Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to our coffee times together. And today I'm here to talk to you about all the things that I read in the month of December.
It's coffee time!
So December was supposed to be a month where I was gonna catch up with reading because I was gonna be on holidays, but long story short, from the 2 weeks of holidays that I was gonna spend in Spain visiting my family, that I was gonna have extra time to read, one of those weeks I had to cancel my holiday because my cats got sick. If you've been following me on Twitter, you've probably seen that. And so I decided to cancel one of the weeks of my holidays to stay and take care of my cats. And it was a very stressful, very worried time for me. I was very worried about my babies. I was really sad that I could not see my parents, and I just got into kind of like a dark space that I had not been in years, and I was like super unmotivated. I was just like a little bit like a slob. And so that week, even though I could have catched up with reading, the only thing that I wanted to do was play a video game or watch something, because it was the only thing that was really keeping my mind out of all of these worries that I had and all of these negative thoughts. So what I did was basically play Luigi's Mansion 3 a lot. So yeah, so that's what I didn't read as much as I wanted to, but it's fine, you know, you're not always gonna have the perfect reading month. But I still managed to read 8 books and 1 novel, and one of the books was actually the longest book that I've read this year, which was over 600 pages, so it's not that bad. If you are new to the channel, we like here to review books, giving them instead of stars coffee mugs, because I just think it's a little bit more fitting with my life in my slightly coffee addiction. And also I start with the lowest rating so that I can always end up on a positive note and not leaving you all depresso. See what I did there? Damn. I'm sorry, I apologize for my humor. So the first thing that I have to talk to you about, it is actually a short novella that it is part of the Carrie Maniscalco series, Stalking Jack the Ripper, and it is a series that I enjoy, even though it's not perfect. I guess it's one of those feel-good Hallmark movie kind of situation for me. I know a lot of people don't like this series, and I totally understand why. So I guess it's kind of like a guilty pleasure series for me. That's how I see it. Like, objectively, I don't think it's the greatest thing, but subjectively, I really enjoy them. And so this is a short novella called Becoming the Dark Prince. So the novella was totally unnecessary. That's what I only gave it a 2.5 coffee mug rating. I just thought it didn't really bring much to the story or to our couple, really. I don't think it was necessary to do this extra because she has already written 4 books about them. So this kind of novella, I just felt it was not needed, and it was just basically Thomas being a drama queen the whole time. Next, with 3 coffee mugs, we have Bloodlust by Catherine Sharp. And now I understand the part of lust in the title. It's not that he is really lusting for blood, is that this horror book had more sex, more smut than a lot of romance books that I have read. So I was kind of confused because I was expecting more horror from the book. It is basically a story in which a police officer is investigating a murder case that seems to be a serial killer that is using the same modus operandi when he kills, and the victims are left in a very messed up, gory, disturbed position, naked, and it's just very disturbing. So I did like the whole kind of modus operandi, kind of serial killer, we need to catch him before, you know, he gets his next victim. But then there was this other part of the story, which was basically the police officer having sex with this woman, and it was just too much sex and too less of the serial killer side. Like, we didn't get to really know the serial killer. I could see this, you know, I could see the end twist coming. Like, I knew who was the killer before it was 100% confirmed, which is nothing bad per se. I did enjoy the whole story. I also wish it would have been a bit longer though. With 3.5 coffee mags, we have Bottle Toss by Howard Odence, and I have, since I gave the rating, thought about it, and I would nearly push it to a 4 because it did bring something original that I did not expect at all from the book. So it is supposed to be this thriller in which these foster kids are having fun one night, and one of the friends from the foster kids throws a bottle to a car, and the car ends up having an accident. And after the events of that night, there's something that is going to be hunting them, and so we follow their story. I also really enjoyed to know more about the foster kids, their past, how they live, how foster kids, you know, are raised, and what their thoughts on the whole thing are. And because they are teenagers, they already have their own opinions and everything, so it was really interesting to see that part as well. And then as stranger things start to happen, we start to get a more kind of supernatural story, and I really love that. And I love that the book ended up being something completely different that from what you would expect. So if you're looking for something different that combines mystery thriller and kind of supernatural elements, you might want to give this one a try. With another 3.5 coffee mags, we have The Gift of Happiness by Holly Martin. So around Christmas, I like to read Christmas romances. I don't know why, they're just heartwarming, and I kind of enjoy these kind of stories around the season. And this one, it is your typical Hallmarked Christmas love story. It is this woman that moves into a really small town trying to start her own business that it's going to be basically about Christmas gifts. And she when she gets there, she sees there a guy that she slept with like a year ago, and she is, you know, having trouble to, you know, let go and understand that she actually really likes this guy. So it's kind of, it's not really a hate to love, but it does have a little bit of that as well. And it's very atmospheric, it's very Christmassy, but yeah, I mean, nothing extremely new, but I really did enjoy the story and the characters. And you know, I love stories in which people are confronted with something that they're afraid to do, or you know, something that they know they want but they are kind of keeping themselves from it, like in love stories. So I really love that. The next one is with also 3.5 coffee mags, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Miranda Leeson. This book is the one that is over 600 pages and includes 2 different stories. They're both romantic stories based around the Christmas season. So the first story is about an unwanted pregnancy, and about this woman that it is self-sufficient, has her own business, so she doesn't need anybody. So she is thinking of raising the baby by herself, because the father is somebody that she doesn't think, you know, would like to be really in a serious relationship. So it's about the couple and how they are dealing with the unwanted pregnancy. And the second book was my favorite story because it is about this girl that, you know, she has had very bad experiences at her old job. So when her grandma dies, she decides to go to the little town where she used to live to take over her bread and breakfast. And when she gets there, she realizes that her grandmother has not left the bed and breakfast just for her, but it's 50-50 shared with another guy that she's never seen before. And this also starts kind of like a slight hate to love relationship because they are very bad working together at the beginning. And he's somebody that doesn't want to stay in that small town. All he wants to do is flee from there. And I really love the mechanics between these two characters and their relationship, so I really enjoyed this second story. The next 3.5 coffee mug, it is for The Woman in the Veil by Lara Jo Rowland, and this is a Victorian mystery. It is your typical thriller investigation murder case, but just in the Victorian era. And I really liked the very different bunch of main characters that we got. We got a female photographer that photographs dead bodies for the newspaper, and then we follow other journalists and some police officers. So I really did enjoy this array of characters that we got to get to know better throughout the book. So the story is the following. There is a woman that is found one day naked next to the river with her face so beaten up that they cannot identify her. So they go to the scene of the crime and they start taking pictures and they start, you know, looking around. And when our main character realizes that this woman is still alive. However, because of all of her bruising and wounds in the face, they cannot identify her, and when she wakes up, she also cannot remember anything. So the whole story is kind of trying to figure out who hurt this woman and who is she really. And I really love that we got into a full-on adventure and that the case was followed up step by step. So you were kind of following the whole investigation and the interviews and all of that. So I really enjoyed that because it made you feel kind of part of that investigation. So if you're looking for a nice mystery thriller that it's more kind of like atmospheric because it's on the Victorian era, this might be for you. The next book is a book that I'm really conflicted about. I decided to give it between 3.5 and 4 coffee mugs, and that is Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. And I say I'm conflicted because I really enjoy Adam Silvera's books, but I've only read his contemporary queer stories, and this is his first fantasy. Now, I know this book has a lot of flaws and there's a lot of things that could have been done better, and I understand why a lot of people were disappointed, why a lot of people didn't like it. So maybe I'm a little bit biased because I liked the author prior to reading the book, but I do like the main idea that he had. I just think that because it is his first fantasy, there are some things I could have done better. I like the book because it has kids with superpowers. It is kind of futuristic and it does bring something new, but I think one of the mistakes that were done in this book was that the terminology of all the new powers, creatures, and all of these different things that you get in fantasy books were not properly really described and explained. So sometimes it's hard to understand who does what, what is this kind of power, who were the specters again. So I think that's part of the problem. But I like that this is kind of like a family dynamic book in which two brothers are being raised up together and they've always dreamed of have superpowers like other people do, and then one of them is kind of investigating the people with superpowers and tries to record them to put videos online. And we're just following this kind of family dynamic, and then they meet people with powers and they become kind of friends with them. So I do like all of these things, all of these elements about it. So describing this book is very hard because, like I said, the world building and explanation of how everything works was not executed in a great way. So a lot of parts of the book were confusing, which is one of the reasons why I might reread the book. And the book is written every chapter from a different perspective, from a different character's point of view, which is something that Adam Silvera likes to do in his books. So you get to follow different characters and hear the stories. So one of my favorite things about the book is the characters, because I really did enjoy their different personalities. What I did not like about the book was that the plot and the world building was so messy. It was not perfect. I'm still going to give it a try and pick up the next book on the series when it comes out, and I might also pick up a finished copy to see if there's anything that changed, because I also have to take into consideration that this book is an ARC, so it is an unfinished copy. Next, with 4 coffee mugs, we have a book that I had been dying to read, and that is No Exit by Taylor Adams. I had heard really good things about this, and I'm always looking for a good thriller, and this one did not disappoint. We're following the story of a young girl that, you know, is having a really shitty time. The last time she talked to her mom, they had a big fight, and now she finds herself driving home as fast as she can in the middle of the night with a snowstorm because her mom is going to be operated and she might not make it. So she has to go and try to talk to her mom before, you know, the operation, in case that she dies. And so in the middle of this snowstorm, she has no other choice than to stop at a rest station, because there is no way she can keep driving with those weather conditions. And she finds in that same spot 4 other people that have been trapped there as well, and they're all drinking coffee, playing card games, you know, trying to spend the time until the highway is free again to drive. And suddenly she goes outside to try to see if there is any kind of phone signal to call her mom, because she doesn't know if she's gonna make it before she goes into the surgery. And while she is outside trying to get a signal on her phone, she passes a van that is parked there, and she peeks inside and finds a little girl that it is inside a cage. And she realizes that one of the people that are in that rest station is the one that put that child in that cage and probably kidnapped her. And so she starts kind of her own investigation to see who is this van's from, who is the kidnapper. Really enjoy this, and if you're looking for a thriller that it gets more and more disturbing as you progress, this might be for you. And the last one is Hannibal, The Shadow of St. Nicholas by G.D. Netto. And this one I gave also for coffee mugs, and it was one of the best things that I read in December just because it was really special. This is a YA book that is kind of like a dark Christmas story with fantasy in it, and some people have compared this to Narnia. I don't know, I've never read the books and I only watched the first movie. Don't kill me if this is one of your favorite franchises. But this is a story in which a brother and a sister are with their parents, and their parents are having a big fight, and this seems to be something normal, and they decide to send their kids to their grandparents to spend Christmas while they figure out their lives. And so the kids go to the grandparents' house, and one night they are kind of transported into another world, and so we get into kind of like this fantasy adventure, but also very dark. There are some moments that are pretty like harsh and violent, and so I really enjoyed that as well, that it was darker than I expected. So this is the perfect Christmas book with some darkness to it, with monsters and dark fantasy, and I'm so glad that I could squeeze it in the month of December. Now the sad part about this is that the book ends in a cliffhanger, and the first book just came out in December 2019, so I'm just gonna have to wait a bit longer for the next book on the series. And those were all the things that I read in the month of December. Let me know down below what is the best and the worst thing that you read in the month of December. Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up. If you're new here, please remember to subscribe, and also before you leave, hit the notification bell. If you want to follow me on other social media, I have Goodreads, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The links are down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!